Ready to go live.
Let's go.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Divinely Empowered with Antonia. Today we have a gorgeous guest, Kelly. Hey, Kelly. Hey, Kelly.
How are you? I'm so excited to be here today. We are going to be like la 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 la, like, right? We're even going to talk about Barbie and the Barbie movie a little bit in honor of your pink lipstick. Woohoo! So
Well,
tell me about the octopus mug, because like I purposely picked my mug that my mom actually made for me with all the dogs that have passed in my world with little wings on them, but I saw you had your fantastic octopus mug.
Actually, we've been slaying some octopuses recently, but that's a whole nother story. There's been a lot of critter attacks and various things. But let's just break this down before we get lost and got too excited, which I feel like we might.
We could.
So, thank you everyone for watching this, for joining us live. I know we are streaming live already from LinkedIn, from Facebook, through my LinkedIn, through my Instagram's not working just yet, my YouTube, yeah, lots all over the place, everywhere. If anyone wants to join in, please do. If you want to leave comments or ask us questions, please do it via my YouTube, which is Antonia Harmon, Divinely Empowered. To ask us any questions, we're going to be answering questions throughout. So watch it wherever you want, but any questions need to be there. We've got a little conversation we're going to be having today ourselves. We're going to be talking about the Barbie movie, which Kelly wanted to discuss. We're going to be talking about my book, which Kelly has actually been reading and can do a little bit of a review on. And we're going to be talking about why chakras are BS. And solid liquid gas and what diseases really are, and then just some random stuff. So yeah, I think that's hang on, I'm just going to press that one to go to that. Facebook, yeah, cool. I think we're ready to go. We're ready to go. Anyway, who are you, Kelly? People who don't know you.
Oh my goodness. Who the hell am I? What the hell is going on? No, it's all good. Hey, I am Kelly Wagner. I'm a mystic out of Minneapolis, Minnesota in the United States. And I am publisher of Edge magazine. If you don't have it, my little camera's off. If you don't have it, you need to have it. Woohoo! Edgemagazine.net for anybody that is abroad. Subscribe, be a part of our beautiful magical community. It's amazing. And I'm also the co-host of the Being Curious show with my dear co-host Brian, and we talk about things, oh goodness, all over the board. So it's really, really fun. And like you, my gifts and abilities, I'm very, very intuitive. So I can't say that we might not just spontaneously start channeling or talking to souls that have transitioned here, there, and everywhere, or galactic brothers and sisters. Anything's possible when you and I are together.
Goodness knows where this is going to go. We've got vague ideas, and then it's just like, let's just play.
Yeah.
All about playing. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. And this is the first time that I've used StreamYard. So I've got a producer, the gorgeous Luce, helping me out. Hello, Luce. So she's helping out. So hopefully this should all run smoothly, but goodness knows. We will give it a go. But I'm going to plug this in so it doesn't die.
I just want to let everybody know, as we've been prepping for the last 15-20 minutes, watching you two work, navigating something that is new, but the frequency and the energy that you two work together is so beautiful. And it's cool to see people collaborating and going, okay, we're jumping into a mud puddle. We don't know what's going to go on, and let's just do this. And you just did it as partners in crimes. I do not know the history between the two of you, but you just work really, really well together in a really supportive way. So I'm just letting you know.
Well, she's just put, thanks, Kelly. So Luce is my new, she's my new assistant. She's only working with me for 2 weeks. I stole her from a concrete factory.
Okay. Good for you. Because she should not be in concrete. She's high vibes. She's been whoop, 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 whoop.
No, she's my friend, and I was trying to convince her to work for me. I mean, she's had to make a couple of sacrifices. Like she can't go buy a house yet now because she's working for me, and she chose me over the house buying. Oh, yeah, because she was the right one. I just met her, and I was like, she's the right assistant. I need help with all of this stuff. Come help me. And then I don't think she thought that it was a real job or that there was that much to do. And then she's got here, and then she's like, oh yeah, there's a lot to do. And I'm like, honey, there's so much to do. And then the more we do, the more that needs doing, because, it works really well doing loads of interviews, but I can't organize all these different things. It's very difficult doing, like, teaching doing research, interviewing everyone. I can do all of that, but the admin behind it and finding the new people to do it, I was working 8 till 11 most days. Like, it was ridiculous. So now I've got some support to be able to go through all these things. And it's, I think it's quite a fun job. She's at my house and she can be at home as well. So it's quite easy, but there's just she's good at spreadsheets and all the stuff that I find really boring. She's like hyper organized and quite likes getting everything all put together in a nice place, because I can't do that. It's not my thing.
So you asked for help, and we're on LinkedIn, and there's a lot of beautiful entrepreneurs in various stages of their journey. Asking for help is huge. And I'm the same way. Like, you and I met and we were like, oh, hello, old friend. Like, so nice to see you. Right. And we are full of abundance. We are absolutely full of abundance. I feel like with my team, saying hello to Cindy and Camille on the Edge team, I am the little hose. So we have all of this coming in, and then things have to go through me. I mean, right. And spreadsheets, like emails. If I get back to emails, I'm like super proud of myself. And people are like, well, you didn't. I totally get it.
Get it all done. There aren't enough hours in the day, and things slip. And I just don't have, I need a lot of spreadsheets that I don't have, and I just don't do them.
No. So I love someone else doing it though.
Do you know what? I want everything done. Like, and I also, Lucy's helping me out with my house as well, because I just haven't finished the unpacking. I've been here a year and a half, and there's just things that when I have the strength to do things, I just go do the stuff that earns money, or the stuff that's backlogged, and I just don't get around to doing all the stuff that needs doing around the house. So I need help with all of that stuff, and I want to be, I don't know, Stepford wife, or like living in one of those houses with all the jars, with all the labels.
Oh, I know.
I want to live in one of those jar labeled houses. I want one of those houses, and it's not something I'm ever going to be able to do myself. I need to employ someone for that. Label all my jars loose. So yeah, we're going to do that. I'm very excited.
Oh my goodness. I actually just read a book called 10X is Easier Than 2X by Dan Sullivan. I highly recommend it. I'm not there yet, but I want to shift into that mindset. So it's a really powerful book I think you'll resonate with it. I think it's a 9-hour audio book, but it just really made me go, oh, many little thought bubbles zooming around. And again, I think you and I are very similar when it comes to all the opportunities and abundance and ideas and everything that were coming in. And it's basically, we need to do less rather than doing more all the time. And recovery is really, really important. And they use the analogy of like professional sports, or even athletes or performers. Let's just say like Taylor Swift. Okay. Because we know Taylor Swift on her performance days, she's not trying to do all of, I don't know, because I'm not in her world intimately, but performance days are performance days, and rehearsal days are rehearsal days. And that's what you focus on. If you are a professional athlete and you have a football game or a baseball game or a soccer game, or whatever, that's the mindset that you have to be, because you have to be 110% ready to go. We don't do that. We're answering emails and we're picking up our dry cleaning, and then we're like, oh, I need to order this on Amazon, and oh wait, I might need to do this, and but if we have that mindset is brilliant. Okay, I won't spend too much time on it, but it was like, that's why I'm doing this.
I like doing the TV presenting. I was a TV host back in the day. It was my job before I became a healer. I'm a healer and wizard, everyone, and an author. So I like doing this. I like chatting to people. I like doing the healings, and I like figuring out where the next big thing is to do the healings. The rest of it, the running of the business, not my vibe. And switching tasks. This is one of the things what I'm doing with the cellular regeneration, though. You have more bandwidth, so I am able to do it. But it's so much easier just to, get someone that you trust, who's clever, that you can just go and give work to, and then you don't have to think about it ever again. It's great. Oh, it's luxury. It's just such luxury.
And there's another book out there that they wrote called Who Not What. And that's what you just tapped on. It's finding someone that is in this lane that you can just, and then they love it. And this is what I see with you and I. We are coming up. We're bubble machines, bubble, 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 bubble. And we need to just be bubble machines and then let somebody else deal with it. And we're going to get there. We're going to get there.
All right, enough about.
Let's rock. Enough of that. Like there. That's for our LinkedIn friends. That's for us being like small entrepreneurs and for our LinkedIn friends. Okay, let's rock. Where do you want to go?
Oh, yeah. All right. Do you want to just start talking about Barbie? You had a thing about Barbie. Does that
Okay. Here's the deal. So I'm in marketing, and the Barbie rollout, and this should be studied in universities in marketing areas. What they've been doing for the last 4 years to get the interest for this movie is brilliant. Like it's fantastic. And I'd love to also know their marketing budget because they've spent a lot of money to do this. So Barbie.
But also, do you think that some of it, I know we've got the pink list, we'll go to that, but before we get into that, do you think that it was especially rolled out especially hard to squash Sound of Freedom?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was some strategy. I think there's some strategy. And then Oppenheimer, and I haven't.
And Barbie and Sound of Freedom all at the same time.
Yeah.
I think that they've made a huge splash with Barbie, literally to just make Sound of Freedom quieter. That's for sure.
You know what though? Here's what I get on that one. It got funded. And I don't know all the backstory, so I don't want to seem like I'm an expert where I'm not. But it seems like they were going to have like their funding pulled 2 weeks before they were going to actually start, and it came through. I believe that it's going to be like the little engine that could. I mean, I truly believe that it's getting. I think it's gonna keep finding its voice and keep finding its voice and keep, because it's too important. It's too important to be shining the light on this. But it's kind of interesting the timing of Barbie. Like Barbie. So you've seen the movie. What was your
because it was raining a lot. I'm in England. This global warming or global boiling hasn't hit whatsoever. It was foggy this morning, and it's August, and that's our high season. So that makes no sense whatsoever. But over the weekend, I had my friend's 7-year-old visiting us, and normally I live in a seaside town, and it was raining, and it was raining cats and dogs. It was horrendous. So we went to go and see the Barbie movie, because why not go and see the Barbie movie? So I probably wouldn't have seen it in the cinema had I not. I like action movies in the cinema. Like if I'm going to go and see something, it's going to be sci-fi, it's going to be big action. It's not the sort of movie I'd see in the cinema. But because we had a 7-year-old with us and because it was raining, we went to Barbie. So I just wanted to put that caveat in.
Oh no, I'm gonna watch it I'm gonna watch it when it gets on Netflix and it's in the comfort of my own home. I don't know if I would invest to go see it. I'm totally aligned with you.
I wouldn't have done. Anyway, so we did that. So we went to see it, and it was, I don't know, there's a lot of propaganda at being really leftist. There is a lot of that, and I guess it's disempowering men quite a bit. And then it's like Barbie world is the women are in charge and the men are just kind of ignored. It's worse. I think it's worse than a lot of the things in our world. And then it was like, then they travel to the real world, and then Ken is there, and then Ken's like, oh my God, the men, everybody likes the men. It's men and horses. And then, and then he realized, actually, just because you're a man, you don't necessarily get to be a doctor and surgeon and everything like that. So, and then he decides to go and make Ken world in Barbie world. And there is this big speech about, how rubbish it is, and you can never do anything right. And if you're a woman, you're supposed to be X, Y, and Z. And then no one likes you if you're doing X, Y, and Z. You're not supposed to be, you're pretty, but not too pretty, and rich, but not too rich, and successful, but not too successful. And do you know what? I think everyone has that. I think no one feels optimal. I think, and everyone is prejudiced against in one way or another. I do think so. And I think we should all just be working bloody hard, and then we'll get along. I do think that you build things that you want in the world. So I do think that I think that most people have opportunities. Most people in the Western world have opportunities, and it's just choosing to go and take the opportunities and going, and working your butt off. I work my butt off, and I think you get the harder you work, the luckier you get.
I love that. What were the 3 words you thought about when you were walking out of that theater?
I don't know. I mean, she was nice at the end, because she was a bit dismissive to Ken during. And then at the end, she was like, well, maybe I could actually just hang out with my boyfriend a bit more. And, I think that it was a lot more balanced at the end, because it was like her dream house and her everything. And then she was quite dismissive. I don't know. I didn't think it was, I was worried it was going to be a little bit more down your throat annoying than it was.
Okay.
But I thought it was quite beautiful, you know. And like, I quite like the way that they did this thing where, you know, they were saying Barbie has actually put women back a long time, and it's not just about your appearance, and it's not just about these sorts of things. I think that was quite useful. I just think balance is key. There you go.
Okay. There you go. You just summed up in the movie. Beautiful. Well,
That's
thank
my
you for sharing.
You are very welcome. Right. We're not here about Barbie, though, are we?
No, we gave enough to Barbie as
And
they're
also,
approaching their $1 billion mark.
yeah, one of the lines was, if you okay, yeah. So I wanted to say this because this, when we were discussing in our pre-meeting, if you're miserable, go read history. I think that is a really good thing. I think we all have the opportunity to be miserable, and I think we all have the opportunity not to be miserable. And I do think happiness is largely a choice. I really do. I think the actions that we choose every single day, like, make us happy or sad, and that includes what you're eating, how you're moving, what you're doing. And I think a lot of these things are within our choices. And I do think that if you are feeling sorry for yourself and making yourself the center of the universe, you're going to be miserable. It's going to make you not feel happy.
You touched on something I have real world for this morning. So we're about to travel, and we are taking our kids, and we are about to travel. And my husband, I am married to this amazing man, but he's the one that packs the car, and he does this, and he makes the checklist. I'm the one that just shows up with my little bag and makes some sandwiches, and we go. And I touched in with him this morning, and I was like, "How are you doing?" And he's like, "I don't want to take this trip. I'm nervous. I don't want to take it. I don't want to go." I mean, so, and I'm like, "Well, we'll just cancel it. We'll just cancel. It's okay." He's like, "No." And then he just did that. And I'm like, "Okay, you're going to start this vacation. We're just going to call it traveling. 5 feet below par. You're digging a hole. You're already digging it. So how do we start? Just have you on the ground. What can I do to help you? Just start here. I'm not asking for you to be bubbly and happy and woo, let's go. But how do we not get in the mindset of digging the hole before we're even starting?" And I think we do that a lot in life. That's my little for the morning. But it was really passionate. I mean, he was really like, he's already doing that. And I'm like, come on, this is supposed to be about fun.
Yeah. I do think we are the source of our own misery, a lot of it. And I do think having a sense of purpose really, really helps with happiness.
So tell me about that, because that is definitely in your book. Everyone get your book out. Like, let's go. And even in our pre-interview, we talked about people in our lives that have lost their way or lost their sense of purpose, and they're throwing their pity parties, and they have so much to be thankful for, but because they don't have something to wake up for, they're just not happy.
Make something. Build something. I think creativity is something to get up for, and it doesn't even have to be that good. Just start, start doing something which is cheap. There are many things like painting, for example. Like you can go and buy some basic paints and maybe a sketchbook or something like that, and not for that much money, and even do $20 or something. You could probably buy most of the bits that you would need, or just some charcoal or something. Go find some charcoal, go burn something, get some charcoal and some paper. You can start painting or doing creative things at not very much money. I think people have lost their creativity, and I think when you lose your creativity, you lose your connection to source. And when you lose your connection to source, you get bored, and you can't do anything for yourself. It makes you miserable. But also just being of service. I really, really think being of service in any way that you can. Go volunteer at a soup kitchen. Go help your neighbors with their groceries. Go and do things which are free, which are easy, which are just maybe some time. Because you go away from these places feeling much better about yourself. You feel like warm and gooey in the inside. And that makes you happy. And the more you do for others, the happier you become. So I think that if you're miserable, go read history, go help others. I think it makes such a difference to people's mental health. And then there's just getting moving. There are even studies now just about going for walks and doing exercise, and how that helps with all sorts of problems that people may have. Any, anxiety and depression and things like that can be very much helped by movement, is the new research. So I think that's super, super important. I do think we are our own worst enemies, and we could actually live a much happier lifestyle quite easily. What do you
So
think?
you go through it. I totally agree. What you really talk about being grounded and grounding in your book. And as I shared with you, I asked, as I'm reading the book today, I was walking my dogs in the morning and I purposely went and got barefoot, walked in the grass, looked at the lake, did all these beautiful things. And I had this moment, didn't have my phone out. And I just took it and I felt, and then I did go over to a tree and say hello and give it a little hug. I mean, I was like, hello. And I felt it. I mean, I love hugging some trees, but like I felt it today. And then I felt the tingling in my feet in the grass. And maybe it was just because maybe I was delusional, but I was actually really feeling it. And it felt a great way. And normally I'll go on our deck that is not in the grass. But it just had a different feeling than actually getting in the grass, being barefoot, and then taking that moment. And it was 5 minutes. It wasn't like anybody can do anything for 5 minutes. And I felt
Yeah.
so much better jumping into my day.
It's interesting, there's studies that they've done on grounding as well. People even spending 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day, just putting their feet in the grass. They are actually having lots of chronic illnesses and chronic pains dissipating largely, and people are losing weight. There's all sorts of amazing healing that happens simply by walking on the sand, walking on the grass, walking on natural surface. It's just something that we're very divorced from largely, and it really does help you.
And if
Yeah.
you aren't able to get into the grass, I know you mentioned in your book about, do you have a grounding mat or a grounding sheet? We have a grounding sheet on our bed, actually, and we
Yeah.
haven't had it on for 2 weeks, and I've noticed.
Have you?
Uh-huh.
I live by the sea, so I can just go walk in the sand. So I'm
Well,
really. Yeah.
do you really surf a couple hours, a couple times a week?
I was when I wrote the book. I haven't been in the water for a minute. I need to get back in the
Okay.
water.
Okay.
But yeah, I was being really, really good about it when I wrote. And then I basically had to write a book in 6 weeks, and then I ends up being too busy. I need to get back in the sea. I swim sometimes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love being in the sea. It's very good for you.
Oh, the salt water. And then you also touched on like the cold plunge therapy. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, because I live in England, like going in the sea is cold water therapy.
Okay. It's true.
You know, unless you're in a wetsuit, which I have a couple of wetsuits as well. But if you just go in the sea, I think it's about 15 degrees now. But it gets to like 7 degrees, 9 degrees. It's very, very cold. So it's Baltic there. So just going in the sea in winter is cold water therapy. But and that I think is very good for you. And I think it's 3 degrees lower if you're actually in open water than you are in a tank. It actually counts as 3 degrees lower because of the wind and various different elements as well. So I think that's very good for your mental health. I think it's very, but people find that it calms them and that all the brain chatter stops, and it helps with their metabolism. It helps with their energy levels. It helps with their mental health. It helps with
Because you're freaking out because you're flipping cold. You can't think of anything else.
No, but it calms for the day.
Oh, okay.
The entire day. And
I've
it's
heard
actually,
that.
no, but you have to also, when you're there and you go, and you suddenly have this big breath because you're like, oh my goodness, it's pretty wild. It's pretty cold. But then but the best way to do it is to do cold and then hot and then cold and then hot. So like a sauna and then like an ice, but you're supposed to end on cold and then you burn lots of calories. But it's helping a lot of people with just to feel much more alive, because you're near death.
Yeah. It's funny to go to the brink so you can. There is a chapter in your book on manifestation. Talk to us about that.
Yeah.
Then we're going to go to gas, liquid, solid, but we're going to wait for that because that is where the magic truly is.
Is the good stuff. Okay, so I've got a chapter on manifesting and how it really works. So everyone talks about manifesting. It seems to be such a buzz term at the moment. And it's great. Manifesting is awesome. But why the heck does it work? Actually, I'm going to do the gratitude bit first, and we're going to manifesting because I've got
Perfect.
Gratitude road, because there's a bit on the attitude of gratitude. There's a chapter on that as well. So why is it that why does everyone go on about gratitude, and what the hell is it, and why does it work? So if you imagine that you have a friend and you go and buy them, you spend ages thinking about buying them a thoughtful gift, and you're like, oh, what should I get them? And you're wandering around, you spend hours, and you just like, oh, you choose something and you spend your hard-earned cash on it, and you just think you bought them the most perfect gift, and they don't care. They're like, oh, thanks, babe. But there's no like,
we've all done that before.
all done that, and you're just like, oh, I spent hours doing that, and that was really expensive, and you don't care. It's like, it's kind of upsetting. So you know, and then you just think, well, why the hell would I bother buying something for them again? They're just ungrateful. Like, screw you, man. So, you know, you've got that side of it. Or you've got another friend, you do exactly the same thing. You buy them a gift and they see the gift, and oh my God, you got me a present. And they're so excited. And then they open the bag and then like, oh my God, you got me that. And they're crying and they're just super appreciative. And it's super, and I can't believe you bought me that. I've always wanted one of those, all of that sort of conversation. Who are you going to want to buy a present for? The first person who doesn't give a monkeys, or the second person who is just like, oh my God. Yeah, this is why gratitude works. This is why gratitude works, because who wants to give a gift to an ungrateful person?
Well, so I've done this a couple times, but a dear family member of mine, have you seen those books that they're actually night lights and they open up and they're just these glowing little books, and they're the greatest. It's super unique, lovely. And I bought it for someone in my world that is like, has everything, and you know those people, and then you find the coolest. And it was really funny that I got it and I gave it to her, and she seemed okay with it. And then a year later, she forgot that I gave it to her, and she's like, someone gave me this book. Do you want it? I was like, sure, I'll take it back. I mean, like, I just played it off. So I totally know that energy where you're, you know, you gift wrap it and you give it with love and you're so excited and you know you've hit it out of the park. You know that this is a great gift. And then they're kind of like, or you go to the gas station and you buy some sunglasses for someone and they start crying because they think it's just the coolest thing someone's ever done for them. Oh, you're totally right with that.
So that's why gratitude works. So just think of the universe as the person giving the gift.
Like, yeah.
That's it. The universe is the person giving the gift. Who are you going to want to give gifts to? Who are you going to want to help? Who are you going to want to give these cool things to? So that's why gratitude works. So the more grateful you are for things, well, it also brings your vibration up, because gratitude is a high vibration. But if you know, who are you going to want to buy it for? So just attitude of gratitude is really, really important for manifesting and for life. So I just wanted to start on that. And then I'm talking about manifesting in general. You know, the way that I like to manifest, and I've got tips and techniques on how to actually do things, because I think that's really, really important, and checklists on, are you doing these things and where can I improve? Like, it's real, it's advice, but it's also checking in with yourself and various different things. So I think it's the way that I like to manifest is what is the phrasing that I use? Oh no, why have I lost the wording? It's reminisce about a future memory. I got it. Reminisce about a future memory. That is the wording that I use. Reminisce about a future memory. So, okay. So when you imagine you had, I don't know, some amazing day where you saw your friends, maybe you got married, maybe you just went to a cool party, maybe your kid were born, or something really cool, whatever it is for you. Think about that, and then just think about, you know, the feelings when you think of seeing those people's faces or where you were, and you know, when you can elicit a memory of something and it's just so vivid. You can smell it, you can taste it, you can touch it, you can just see that, and a really good memory. So that's what you want, the vividity of that, the real like getting really into the nitty-gritty and feeling and sensing it in every way. You want that energy into something that you're trying to create. Reminisce about a future memory. So think about what it is that you want. Maybe you're looking, I don't know, something material, or you're looking for something, whatever it is you're trying to manifest. But just think of the scene. Maybe like you want to buy a new house. And I did it buying this house, so I can just walk you through it. I just saw this house and I was like, right. So I wanted to live by the sea, because I just need to be really grounded and I have to live by the sea. So I was like, okay. So I was sort of like walking into the house and visualizing the house, and how does the house smell? So you can smell the sea. You can understand that. How does it like taste? You can't really do so much, but less taste and smell can be interrelated. Or maybe you're walking through with a coffee when you're doing your, you know, visiting the house. So you can do that sort of stuff. Or you can, can you feel anything? Is there sun on your skin? Is there a freshly cut grass? Can you touch anything? Can you touch the walls? What can you do? Which senses can you engage when you're trying to manifest, and bring it into as many different senses as possible, make it just vivid as possible. And when you can do that, then you can manifest what you're looking to manifest. It's literally engaging every sense and reminiscing about it. Think of it wistfully and getting yourself into a really high vibration before you do it. So thinking about falling in love, like who is it that you're most in love with? Maybe your dog, maybe a pet, maybe your husband, maybe your wife, maybe you've got, or maybe your children or something, or just think about someone or something that you love, or your perfect day that you've had in the past, and just sort of layer it on so your vibrations really gooey and lovey-dovey, and then start playing out this scene and just add as many elements and textures as possible to it, and that's how you manifest.
That's beautiful. It's freeing too.
Yeah.
And it's like you have this blank canvas and you can just add the layers to it and just play with it. Okay. I encourage everybody listening to do that.
Yeah, high vibe. I mean, obviously you can do vision boards and all the rest of it, but just try a few different techniques. I've got a few in the book, but it's reminiscing about a future memory is really just just putting as much detail in it as possible and as many senses in it as possible. So I think that's a really nice way to manifest.
I think it's fantastic. How can people ground more? Because I think grounding is key to being grateful. It's key to manifesting. It's key to so many things in the world. So I went and got barefoot in the grass today. I hugged a tree. What other different things that can people do? And I know it's eating, and I know it's exercising and breathing.
I think I talk about hugging three different times in the book. I went to go and hug a tree. It was weird. I went on this walk with my friend a little while ago into this beautiful forest, and I went and hugged a tree, and I literally got high off the tree. It was the weirdest thing. Like literally, it was honestly, I was completely buzzing, and I was like, I called my friend. I was like, come and hug this tree. And then she was buzzing off it so much so that she started hyperventilating and had to go and like paddle her feet in a stream.
Sounds like a heck of a tree.
It was
charging admission to be just hugging that tree.
It was a particularly special tree. I do think that if you're the grounding mats are really useful if you can't get into nature every day, but I really recommend that we get into nature every day. And yeah, it's really, really important. But there are also things which are electron donors and electron stealers, which is that chapter towards the end, which talks about energy cultivation. So basically, being in the sun gives you electrons. Being in the wind steals electrons. Water is good for you. So just be aware that you may feel tired when you come in from a walk outside in the wind. So just, so just make sure you can be in the wind, but it will make you tired. It just makes you tired. But still water makes you tired, and moving water energizes you. There's just more electrons in the air. So if you can be by nature, if you can be in a forest and you're going to have all these electron donors, it's going to be the grounding on top. So it's like a double bubble. So if you can go for a walk in a forest, you can go barefoot, you can go hug a tree in a forest, or you can go near a stream, moving water, the sea, waterfalls, that sort of stuff, and be barefoot there, or touch things there, touch nature there, you're going to get extra bonuses. But so I do recommend making sure you get into the sun every single day. Like get outside and go sit on the grass. Like that is so simple. And when you're indoors, what you can do is buy a grounding mat, which is super easy. You can have one that you're sitting on, you can have one which is in your bed, and you can be getting this energy exchange within your body as you're just sort of passively doing it, because I believe in working smarter, not harder. What can you do which is really not any bother to your life or change your life in any way, which you're going to be getting benefits from? I mean, I really think magnesium is needed very much in people's diets. And I think that we have a lack of magnesium largely, and that is a problem because it stops a lot of processes in the body need magnesium. And if you are quick and volatile, if you are, when you have your menstrual cycle, if you have a chocolate craving, which you think is going to be the sugar, is often magnesium. A lot of all your body needs magnesium, which is very, it's one of the most important minerals. And it tastes rubbish. And if you take too much of it, you get diarrhea. So you may not want to take it orally. So that's just what it is. I have magnesium shower gel. It's the easiest thing. You can put Epsom salts in your bath. you can get magnesium shower gel, and I'm using shower gel anyway. So if you can just use a magnesium shower gel when you're just going to be using some other shower gel, 2 birds, 1 stone, easy peasy. It doesn't really affect your life. You don't have to remember to be taking supplements. You're using it anyway. I think that's the sort of way that I like to work. Just make things super easy without really have to change anything.
Yeah. Do you have on your web, and you probably do you have on your website a list of the resources, like the biogrounding mat that you recommend and the brand of the magnesium shower gel? I mean, these are great tips and tricks for people.
My assistant's going to note that down for me. No, I'm redoing my website at the moment. I've just done my website's in the middle of a refurb. So no, it's very old, and it's hopefully next week it's going to be all sorted out. But no, I haven't. But I will do at some point. I think that's a great idea. Yeah.
I mean, because if you think about it, because I take magnesium every day, but if I had a shower gel that had magnesium in it, okay. So I want to go back to the whole wind. I had 6 Jeep Wranglers, and I loved them. And I mean, I would have in Minnesota, I would have the top off in November. Like, I loved being out in that fresh air. And I don't know if it was because of what was going on in my life that it was nice to just let it go, or I just loved the wind. But I love wind. I love sun. Look at this.
You have the wind and the sun at the same time, it's fine. But
okay.
So I have a convertible car too. And I'm thinking about getting a Wrangler, but I might get something. But they leak apparently. The Jeep Wranglers leak.
The
soft top ones leak. Yeah, they leak.
The old ones did. The newer ones aren't bad. I promise you, they're not that bad. I had a 90. Yeah. Oh, I totally get it. But like, I've just, as someone that had 6, the older models did, and they're not. Right. But my newer ones, I had no issues whatsoever. But the new Ford Bronco is kind of cute.
I'm looking at the Evoque, maybe the Range Rover Evoque.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's because I need something a bit more meaty here, because it's like the weather conditions are wild here. The winds are crazy, like crazy. Yeah, so I'm all about convertible cars, and I'd never buy a car that wasn't convertible. I'm completely set on them, and that's just me. But you do notice if it's been sunny, then you're okay. But you can get out your car and just be like, oh my goodness, and be tired. They're electron stealers. The wind is an electron stealer.
Oh, I believe it. I was just fascinated why I was so drawn to convertibles, but knowing that, but then having the sun, okay. The sun is
an electron donor, and the wind is an electron stealer. So, but if you put the roof down, it also depends. I mean, in my convertible, I don't get much wind because I've got the windows up. I don't have the windows down. I actually feel more tired, weirdly, having being in a car with the windows down, because you get more wind when you're in a car with the window down than you do in a convertible with the windows up, in my experience. I feel much more tired in a car with the windows down. But you also need the fresh air. So that's so I love a convertible.
Oh, hey, it's all good. Oh my goodness. Oh, believe me, I miss them. I miss them, and we're gonna manifest a new one.
Why would you not have a convertible, babe? I mean, you're crazy.
I know. Because I had this beautiful Jeep, and we decided to start a business, and we took a lot of our little luxuries and we cut a lot of fat and did everything with our own resources, and we're just building it up from there. But yes, I have to say, I went from a really fun vehicle to I drive a Kia Soul now, and it's very normal. It's not me.
Too vanilla for you.
I know. I know. Believe me, I'm reminded every time I grab my keys.
I can't do it. No, it's funny because my brother is very kindly given me his nanny's car because I need a bigger car because I have a 2-seater, and I'm driving that, and I'm just like, I'm going to have to sell it because I'm not very good at driving it because I'm used to sports cars. I overshot a roundabout the other day, and I'm like, I'm not driving this car again because I'm used to having sports brakes and sports acceleration. So I'm a complete snob now. I'm ruined.
I overshot a roundabout the other day. I would have loved to see that. That would have been fantastic.
It wasn't. I could have got killed.
I know. I'm sorry.
I was like,
well, you didn't.
different car. I need to get a different car. Anyway, I'm working on it. But okay, let's talk about. See, this is just a random show. We're just random.
Random. Let's talk about chakras being bullshit.
We can talk about chakras. Back to spiritual stuff rather than our cars. How about that?
Okay, sorry.
Okay, so.
Or we can go somewhere else if you want.
No, we can do that. Then we'll do this the solid liquid gas you wanted to talk about as well, didn't you?
Yes, I do want to talk about that because then that's going to go into your classes.
And then celery gems. Who's interviewing who here? I think that you're interviewing me, but I'm cool with that.
I'm sorry. No, this is the problem. Okay, no, I'll be quiet now.
No, I like it. It's great. I'm fine. It's fine. It's useful. All right. So chakras are bullshit. I think chakras are bullshit. I think that they're prison cells. See, and I've got pretty extreme views on this. So I think our energy system should be working holistically. I think everything should be intertwined, and compartmentalizing your energy system into different parts means that it's like it's separating it. It's not, you want it working all as one rather than it's the whole thing that we have now in medicine. We have a doctor for your immune system, for your heart, for your, all the different systems of your body has an individual doctor to do it. And that's one of the reasons that it's not working as well as it might be, because you're not looking at things holistically. What you want to do is break down your chakras. So what I've done in my energy system is I've broken around the shackles for the chakras. It's literally like they are there, but they're much bigger. And they sort of move in and out. They're not like stuck, and they work holistically. So people who with sight might be able to see my energy system. And now I've got, instead of having the normal chakras, I've got wings, which is pretty cool. I've got an angelic energy system because I did a lot of work. And I've got it's like a great ball of fire. So it's like my wings are pearlescent. So pearlescent is all the colors of the rainbow, all the colors of the chakras. It's like this big ball, or the wing. I've got both. I've got like a great ball of fire, which is like this yellowy ball of fire. And I've got wings with the pearlescence, which are what the expansion of the chakras are. So they go from the chakras into huge, great big wings. And that means you have a lot more power energetically, and you can do a lot bigger work. You have to, and to get into the stuff where we were getting into slaying demons, which is some of the stuff that I do, because there's a lot of dark stuff on the planet, you have to be an angel to slay demons. And you've got to smash down your chakras and expand your chakras to be able to then get into the new world and be able to really help with a lot of problems that people have. And a lot of it's to do with demons.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I think a lot of health issues, mental health issues, are possessions. I think a lot of physical health issues are possessions, and I think that I do demonstrations of this sometimes, which is quite fun. So we can do one now. Let's see. Yeah. So what I can do is, everybody has this thing where they have mind chatter, and everyone calls it the monkey mind, and they think that the monkey mind is them. It's not them. It's basically multidimensional beings saying all sorts of stuff to us to then feed on loosh, which is emotional energy. So they'll say things like, you're too fat, you're not enough of this, you're never going to make it, there's nothing good about you, you are too stupid, you are too, whatever your self-deprecating thoughts are, and everybody has them. That's not you. That anxiety, that's not you. That's opportunistic beings who are feeding on your emotional energy. So what I can do is I can put a force field around people between them and their thoughts. And that means that their brains, or the demons, or the things outside of them, shut the heck up, because I can put a force field between people and their thoughts, and then their brain goes into walking meditation, into silence. Should we do it?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, no, I'm going to do it. So the people following at home, if you're watching live, fantastic. If you're watching this later, that's no problem at all. This will be embedded into the footage. So you can watch it now. You can watch it another time. We are 43 minutes in. So if you watch it from like 45 minutes, if you want to watch it later, then you can watch this as many times as you want, and you will get the benefits of this. It's going to shut the heck up your brain, because it's not you. It's beings feeding on your emotional energy, because we are not top of the food chain. We are not top of the food chain.
I love it.
We are not top of the food chain. So I'll put a force between you and your thoughts, which I call demons, and then your brain shuts the heck up. All right, ready to go? All right, close your eyes, everybody, and I'm just going to put a force between you and your thoughts.
It feels soft. It feels open. It feels hopeful. It feels protected.
And the negative self-deprecating thoughts should just not be there anymore.
I tried to look for them just to observe where they are, and they're just so far away.
I put a filter around you and them. Yeah.
It feels comfortable.
That's what I live in walking meditation. I literally live in this state. The demons can't chat to me in my brain. They don't get there. So I live in this place, and this is in my level 7 class. But it's so nice not to be bothered by this sort of stuff. It's quiet.
It feels open. It feels expansive.
It's because you're connected. It's almost like these demons, and they're like different species. I collectively call things demons, but it's multidimensional beings feeding on your emotional energy. That's what they're doing, and they wind you up and say all sorts of nasty things to you, simply to be able. So you get freaked out, and they feed on your emotional energy. That's all it is. And also, they're hungry, and that's just what they do. So it's no point getting annoyed about the situation. It's just work through your trauma so you don't have bullseyes on your chest. That's the important thing, and that's what I teach as well. So but what happens is they close in on you, and then you have your connection to source is it's severed, because all you've got is you being stressed out and you being bullied by these beings to just get their dinner. That's how it all works.
So how do you know when the force field is lifting and that you need to recharge? You'll know. Okay, there we go.
So it lasts probably about 2 to 3 hours for most people. But and then I'll just start coming back. So sometime, that'll be strong for about that time, but by tomorrow it'll have lifted. But you really need to work through all these different things. So when I do sessions with people, I get them to play like a movie montage of all their traumas and delete the emotional resonance with all their traumas. And then this stuff just doesn't happen so much anymore. It makes things much, much quieter, because the bullseye's on your chest. Because what they're doing is they're twisting the knife in. They're finding something which is your weakness. Maybe you were bullied. Maybe there's some issue you've got about X, Y, and Z. They find that, and then they will tease you on it, because then you get upset, and then they eat. So I get people to play a movie montage of all the worst things that have ever happened to them and delete the emotional resonance. And then these beings have got nowhere to go. So you just become too hard to eat. Predators go for the easiest prey. And once you don't have any bullseyes on your chest because you've deleted all your traumas, or have deleted all your traumas, they just don't bother you anymore. I also portal them to different dimensions. And I'm also, instead of slaying all these beings, I used to do that. And then I decided that was a bit of a dick move. Now what I do is quite fun. I'm a divine travel agent. I build them universes and I portal them to these universes, which is like the Ritz-Carlton in the Bahamas for demons. And they are pretty happy there. They've got endless food. They're living in paradise. And I now have lots and lots of beings that you wouldn't expect to be your friend, who are now my friend, who think I'm blooming amazing because instead of slaying anyone, I'm freeing slaves. So it's I'm a divine travel agent now rather than a slayer. If I have to slay occasionally in case someone's acting up, I will. And then everybody is like, no, I think I'd rather go and live in paradise than be killed. Okay, cool. It's a pretty good choice.
Did you see anybody acting up around me when you were checking in?
Everybody has.
I knew you were going to say that.
Everybody has, unless you're living in walking meditation. And the reason that things like meditation are very useful, and yoga, people say that you're like, people talk about the monkey mind a lot. Like, what is that all about? For me, it's just these beings. So, but the more connected you are to source, the less good of a food source you are. So you've got less, you've just got more light in you. The more light you have, the less of these bullseyes you've got on your chest. So they just don't bother you in the same way. So the more light work you do and more evolved work you do, the less good you are to eat. So they just leave you be. Or you can do it the fast track way, is just delete your traumas, and then they're just not there anyway. There are different ways to get around these things, but to live in walking meditation, I've been doing it for years, and it's by dissolving traumas.
So how does someone start to begin to dissolve traumas?
Level 1 in my class. So all my classes are online. So you literally go to my website, divineempowerment.com, and you learn how to dissolve traumas from level 1. So you watch videos in the comfort of your home at times that suit you. We had problems with time zones because I have students all over the world. Matching an Australian, an American, and a UK time zone is not something which is a doable thing. It just doesn't work. So it doesn't. And it was like everyone was up at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's like, who's going to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning this time? This is really rubbish. So I just put everything online. So the pre-recorded classes, you literally sit there, watch videos, and get magic skills. So I come from the premise that everyone's a god and goddess. Everybody watching at home is a god or a goddess with amnesia. And so what I do is remove the blockages preventing you from having your abilities. So it's not teaching you. It's the only, I don't know any other modality that does this, anyone I know of. Maybe there are others. But it's a modality that doesn't, enlightenment is a losing game, or enlightening is a losing game. You lose the stuff that prevents you from being enlightened. So I remove all the stuff from your system that prevents you from having superpowers. I'm not giving you superpowers. I'm helping you remember your superpowers, removing the stuff which is in the way of them. So then you get abilities, and it works first time, every time, which is super useful, because that is just, so then I just teach you how to do it. I awaken your ability to do it, and then you just intend to do it. So you can just think about your breakup, for example, and you just think about your breakup, and then you just watch the emotions dissipate. It erases. It's called the big eraser, and it just goes, and you can do it on other people straight to level 1. You can do things like, we had a level 2 student maybe 7 years ago, maybe 5. I'm not good at time, but we had whatever. We had this student who had depression for 27 years, and with depression for 27 years. You go and see everybody. You go to the psychologist, the psychiatrist, you take the pills, you do the spells, you do everything that you would do. And the pills were making him just feel rubbish. Everything was just muddied, and everything was just bland. And he just didn't like doing them because he was just tired and just groggy, and they just didn't really work for him. So he just came off the pills and was just living with this depressed state. So on my level 2 class, I went, right, you guys, there was maybe 9 students or so. I went, right, you guys delete Martin's depression. And everyone went, what are you talking about? And I was like, just clear his depression, delete his depression. They just went, Antonia, what do you mean? I said, well, you know how to dissolve trauma. See if you can do the depression. And everyone was looking at me like it was completely loopy-loo. And I was like, look, the thing is, let's just try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. We're in exactly the same place. I encourage people to try everything all the time. If it's safe, don't be stupid, but try new things, because if it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. So the worst case in this scenario, because we've also got like divinity behind it and help and divine wisdom behind it. So really the worst case scenario for my work is that you're exactly where you are now. And like, if you're starting from a place where you're just going to be exactly where you are now, who cares? So I said, like, let's just try it. So I didn't do anything. I just watched, and I got those 9 people to be working on Martin's depression. And within 10 minutes, I was like, it looks like it's gone. How do you feel, Martin? He went, the emptiness is gone and I feel cheerful. And I said, when was the last time that happened? When was the last time that you felt cheerful? And he went, about 5 months ago, but I had some beers. When was the last time you felt cheerful without the aid of alcohol? And he said, I don't know, but it's been years. That was, as I said, 5-7 years ago, somewhere around years ago. And his depression hasn't ever come back since. And that was 10 minutes. That's level 2. So now, you know, a level 2 student, it would probably take them a bit longer than 10 minutes. Who cares? If it takes you an hour, who cares? That is what you can already do in level 2, because this is an awakening school. It awakens you to your God or goddess self, and you get superpowers, like proper superpowers. You learn spoon bending in level 2, which is just fun. I like the party trick of changing the taste of wine using energy, because that is badass. Changing the taste of wine using energy. That's just one of the little energies in level 1. And it saved me a fortune. Honestly, it's just, you can make wine into real good wine, which is super fun. So, yeah. And then you just, as you progress up the levels, you just learn more and more magic, and things get faster and easier. And we get rid of our chakras. Our meridians aren't the same. Meridians are fungal pathways. So they're now expanded. So there's the energy's still running, but they're not stuck in the tunnels that they were stuck in. They're much more expanded. They're much wider and pulsing through much stronger. And then your energy system becomes a lot more evolved. And then you can start doing the cool stuff. And the cool stuff is the diseases. Do you want to know about solid liquid gas and then cell regen? I feel like you're just interviewing me, but we'll get on to some questions for you at some point, shall we, or not? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, does it? It's good. All right. So the solid liquid gas, I figured out what disease is. How did you find that chapter in the book, Kelly?
How did I find it? What do you mean? I just opened it up and started reading it.
I know, but did you like it?
Oh gosh, yes. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. Like, oh, it's fascinating, and it seems so natural. And sorry, I'm still like enjoying the openness. It's so natural, but then it makes so much sense. And I think you reference, I forget the book. I actually bought it like right after I read the chapter, the metaphysical. Okay, I highlighted it. There we go. The Metaphysical Anatomy by is it Everett Rose? Everett. That sounds fascinating. But the whole, like, your body is talking to you, and the gas and liquid solid, you just go for it, because this is fantastic. And I think this is going to be extremely powerful for everybody listening to this.
Okay, so let me tell you about it. So diseases come in 3 categories: a gas, a liquid, and a solid. Gas-based diseases are thought-based diseases. So, you know, when you hang around somebody who's sad or angry or upset, you spend 2 seconds with them, and you can immediately feel that they are upset. You walk into a room after an argument and you can cut the air with a knife. You can feel it when your friend is stressed out, when the friend is depressed. You can feel it if your friends have just had sex. You're like, you can feel it in the air. You're like, ooh, what's happening here, honey buddy? So, you know, you can feel these different things. Emotions are like a gas, and they follow you around. You can almost take the air out of the room when someone is sad or depressed. You can feel it immediately. Emotions are a gas. So diseases come in. So thought-based diseases, like depression, is a gas-based disease, because it just stays in the air around people. And then you've got a liquid-based disease. A liquid-based disease would be something like a chronic pain. Now, backache, for example, or fibromyalgia, not fibromyalgia, sorry. Fibromyalgia. Yes, fibromyalgia. It moves. The pain moves from one area. So sometimes it's, I don't know, and you're like a little bit left, a little bit right. It just moves. It doesn't stay in a fixed location, because it behaves like a fluid. It's just not fixed. Your shoulder pain is a bit here or is a bit here. It moves. It's not in exactly the same place. It flows around like a fluid. Another example of so chronic pain is a liquid-based disease, as is a cyst. A cyst is a fluid. It's a literal ball of fluid. And what happens is that the thoughts get compressed, and enough steam compressed slows down and cools down, becomes liquid water. So what happens is we get fixated on thinking about, for example, backache is about not feeling supported. Your back is about support, so not feeling supported. So so the more you focus on not being feeling supported, and the more you've got these beings saying, you know, you're not supported in every which way, that builds more and more thoughts. Those thoughts are then compressed, and then form that illness of your backache. And then you've got, so that's what, you know, a liquid-based disease, and you've got a solid-based disease, which would be something like a tumor. You press a tumor, it's rock hard, but it's compressed, condensed thoughts. And this happens everywhere. It doesn't just happen it happens in nature, and it's something which is very common, but we don't think about it in these terms. So it's really important. Also, I was reading something this morning which was saying about people being able to smell diseases before they come. There was a lady in this video I watched this morning which was saying that she could smell Parkinson's on her husband years before he had Parkinson's. And she was like, what is that foul smell on you? And then her friends thought that she was just really mean, and she'd gone to the doctor and they thought she was crazy. And then her husband got Parkinson's, and then she went into a Parkinson's meeting, and then the smell was 20 times worse. It was just really horrible. And she said, oh my goodness, is it Parkinson's that I'm smelling? What is this? And then then they didn't believe her. And so they made her, then they did a study. And so they didn't believe her. And then they said, okay, fine. They gave her T-shirts of people with and without Parkinson's just to see if she could smell it. And she got every one of them right, apart from one, who then was diagnosed 8 months later with Parkinson's. She could smell it. It's this gas of that disease. It's actually in your clothes. People can actually smell them before they've compressed into become that disease.
Animals can pick up on that, can't they?
Cancer dogs.
Yep.
Yeah. Luce was just saying about her, you know, her mum with cancer and her dog smelling it and sniffing her boob. You know, isn't that interesting? Before the breast cancer came. Isn't that crazy? Like, you can literally, they can smell it. These animals can smell it. So it's these compressed thoughts, and it starts as a gas. They always smell of it. But this happens in nature as well. So mastery of solid liquid gas. If you get full mastery of solid liquid gas, that means that we can do all sorts of things. You can, mastery of solid liquid gas is instant manifestation. It's going, bajing, gold bar. But it happens in nature. So think about the sword and the stone. I love the sword and the stone story. So, but I live very near where the sword and the stone was meant to have happened. But basically the story is, there was a big sword and a stone that Merlin put into a stone. And he said, whoever can pull the sword from the stone is worthy of becoming King of England. And it used to be that the most enlightened person would become the king or queen. Like nowadays, I think it's the least enlightened person who rules, but that's another story. Yeah. So what it was he had to be the most enlightened. So Merlin put the sword in the stone. So what Arthur did was actually, how do you get a sword out of a stone? You liquefy the stone, and then you pull it out. If you've got mastery of solid liquid gas, you can liquefy stone and pull the sword out of it. This happened in Princeton University. They've managed to do studies where they've managed to liquefy stone and metal and different things, which is a hypermagnet mixed with freezing conditions. They've done it in all sorts of, what was the other one I was thinking of that they did? What's the other example in the book? There was another good one. They do it in tornadoes. Walking on water. This one they didn't let me put in the book. How do you walk on water? What is solid water, Kelly?
Ice.
You're damn straight. That's how you walk on water. It's, if you get mastery of solid like liquid gas, Jesus said mastery of solid gas, you can walk on water, you make it into ice. That's it. It's that one they didn't let me put in. I was desperate to put that one in. They thought it was too religious, but I can understand that their apprehension. But I was like, that's how you walk on water. Mastery of solid liquid gas. And there are also temples in Tibet where they've got handprints. They've got like Buddhist monks, and I think it's the founder of Tibetan Buddhism. They put their hands into stone and liquefy the stone, and that's what they're doing in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It's homage to that. You can put your hands in stone and make your hands actually stick into that by liquefying the stone. Mastery of it is when you become a god. It's God stuff. Yeah. I don't have mastery, I must admit, but I figured it out. I figured that. And if you can do that, you can dissolve any disease instantaneously and you can manifest anything instantaneously.
Okay, what level is the whole solid liquid gas? Is that level 11, 12? Like, sign me up.
Yeah. Solid liquid gas, you start to do some stuff with solid liquid gas to liquefy different illnesses you can do like from maybe level 7 or so, you can start liquefying different things like backache and things like that. The solids are very hard to do. I haven't mastered liquefying solids and getting rid of solid-based illnesses. But with the new stuff, I'm getting there with the cellular regeneration, which is another can of worms to go down. But you can liquefy like backache and things like that. There's a video on my YouTube, if people go and check that out, which is a mind, body, spirit. There's a video in there, we'll put it in the description below, where you can watch a video, and if you have chronic backache, it may go from watching a video of me doing a speech and dissolving things. It's on my YouTube.
That's fantastic. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
How do people sign up and take a class with you?
I think everybody should sign up and take a class.
Too.
And if they want to, they can use the code Divine at 10 and they can get 10% off. I think my glamorous assistant will put that in below, Divine 10 at divineempowerment.com, and you can get 10% off your class. And you can do level 1, 2, and 3 as what is it? It's $299. I think it is £300 to do each of the levels, but it's $799 if you do the bundle and do levels 1, 2, and 3 at the same time. And that's pretty cool. Yeah. Learn magic. It's a magic school. It's a wizard school. But the new stuff.
Talk about the new stuff.
The new stuff it's so cool. I've hacked energetic cellular regeneration. Basically, my dear friend Lisa had a fight with a blender. She stuck her finger in a blender, she mangled it, and it went necrotic. So necrosis is when things go black. And when it goes black, it never goes back. It is dead. It's cell death. And it starts spreading. It's what happens when you have gangrene. It's what happens when you have frostbite. And what's the other one? Gangrene, frostbite. Leprosy, that lovely disease. So it doesn't go back. If your flesh goes black, it's gone. So in the good old days, what they would have to do is amputate. In the modern times, they give you skin grafts. But that was the conversation they started having about skin grafts. Her finger was completely mangled. She had 5 stitches in her finger, and obviously her finger's pretty small, so 5 stitches is quite a lot. It was mangled, and she, bless her cotton socks, told me about it, and we were about to film something else, and I was like, right, well, I just been watching these videos about cellular regeneration, and I saw about cellular voltage, and there's some very clever doctors who figured out what was going on with cellular regeneration. They ended up, this orthopedic surgeon decided to cut the leg off a salamander because it regenerates and grows back, and he looked at what was going on. There was an electrical surge of energy, and then there was a pulsing. And then he thought, if I cut the leg off a frog and I reproduce the electricity, will his leg grow back? And he thought, give it a go. Did it, leg grew back on the frog, which obviously isn't a normal thing. And there are other doctors who were working out the voltage of the cells, the cellular voltage, and was figuring out different voltages for different health. So if your voltage is 70 to 90, minus 70 to 90 millivolts, or minus 30 to 50, then you are super healthy. 30 to 50, minus 30 to 50 is unhealthy, and minus 20 is cancer. And the minus is quite confusing because basically it's like if you have a car, and if you're measuring a car going upwards, then you're like measuring it at 5 meters or something like 2 meters. But if you're measuring it downwards, then it's the minus. That's the terms that they use for it. It's a bit confusing. But anyway, so, but minus 20 millivolts is the cancer. So I looked into her and I tuned into her finger, and it was at 20, which is, cancer is something which is, it's cell death, or, there's a lot of problems with cancer, obviously. So I thought if I could increase the cellular voltage on her finger, then maybe her finger would get a bit better. So I did that. I developed a new energy on the spot, and within a week, her finger was no longer necrotic. It was no longer black. It went back to being flesh color in a week. And then I was like, I did myself at the same time. And I was like, right, can I do my face? Like, there's nothing really wrong with my body because I've been doing healing for a long time. So I started playing around with it. So I'm going to have to show you because we haven't got it. But next time we'll have it on screen properly, but I can just do it here. So I'm going to show you my before and after. This is a picture from a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to just show you this one actually. Hang on. There. There's a line underneath my eye here, which goes all the way down. If I zoom into, oh shoot, sorry, technical issues. But that downward line there is the one to really notice there. I don't have it now.
No, you don't.
There. It doesn't go down anymore. It's completely gone. And if you look around my nose, like those, camera's in a weird place. Like those lines on my nose are a lot gone. And then my lips are a lot thicker now. Like if I do that, like that's a lot lighter. Like my face looks 10 years younger than it did in this photograph from last year. But we've got a lady who's, so my face is doing really well and I'm quite enjoying that. I'm not wearing foundation now, which is like amazing because I was wearing foundation all the time. I'm wearing foundation in that picture and I'm not now. And like the lines underneath my eyes are just very different than they were, which is super fun. But I've got somebody who had osteoarthritis and it's gone within a week. Her osteoarthritis, these are all videos on my YouTube as well, so go check them out. I had somebody else who was perimenopausal. She'd been going through that for a year. She was really tired and straight up. And then she missed one cycle, but she had a weird cycle and it was just all over the place. And she just got super tired and wasn't able to do her exercises and be super energized. And she's a Pilates instructor. And that, as soon as she was at my house, because she's my friend, I charged her energy and she has just been bouncing off the walls pretty much ever since. And her cycle has come back. She's had for the last 4 or 5 months, bang on her 28 days, her cycle. There's another lady who like totally misunderstood the instructions. That was Karen's interview. Lise, she misunderstood the instructions and thought that her cellular voltage was already integrated really, really high, which it wasn't yet because it takes a while for it to happen. But she immediately came off her BHRT and all of her supplements that she'd run out of earlier in the year and was completely floored by it. She just came off them on the day, which I didn't recommend. And I don't recommend people do that, do things gradually under doctor's supervision. And she came off it immediately and then she's not looked back and she is back to her old self. She's cycling 20K and walking 10K and she's just doing so much exercise when she was pretty much homebound before and hasn't needed any of her pharmaceuticals or any of her supplements, which is pretty wild. People are having really, really wild effects. So that's the latest stuff.
That's amazing.
Level 12 stuff. Yeah.
And this is all on your website?
This is all on my website. You can literally watch videos and learn how to do cellular regeneration for people. Yeah. It's all pre-recorded. It's all there. You have to sign some things to make sure you don't go and do anything nefarious with it. But yeah, it's there, ready to go.
That's good.
Yeah. Because we are the medbeds, and I think we are the human medbeds. And I don't know if the physical ones exist or what the rollout will be. We've been waiting for them for years, but let's do it ourselves. And we can do it without tech. We're winning. And I don't know where this is going to go. My voltage keeps increasing. I think it might keep going. Like my face keeps changing. I keep noticing, oh, my lips are thicker. I'm sort of like, and my cheeks are moving. And my friend was just with me, who hasn't seen me since November. She just stayed with me. And she said, the thing which is noticeable is here. She's like, it looks like I've had a facelift here. And my face has changed that bit more than the lines. That was the thing that she noticed. And this bit is lighter. It's amazing. It's like, yeah, it's pretty cool. What can you say to that, Kelly? I've just taken the stage entirely. What do you?
I love it. I'm gonna sign up for your courses right when we get off.
Yeah,
this is amazing. Oh my goodness.
Future of a healing, and it's just, let's make things really easy. Let's make them affordable. Let's make them accessible. Everything can be paid for over 3 months. You know, this is really, really fun. And I'm changing my website at the moment. So if you do get me in the next few days, you can book in with me. My prices are going to triple for my cellular regeneration. It's £1,000 right now. It's going to be £3,000 probably next week, but I am going to have another, I think 14 or so people who are going to be doing it at the £1,000 mark. So I'm moving up and they are going to be able to do the same work as I am. So it's still going to be at that price point. But if people want me, get booking. Otherwise I'm going to be more expensive because I've got other things that I need to be doing. And they are very, very capable. I want to hand over that gauntlet to my practitioners. And yeah, people want me, they can pay for me. That's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Phew, that was a lot. Any questions?
This has been so exciting. Oh my goodness. Well, and I see that we're going to be having these conversations on a regular basis.
I think we should.
We should.
So has anyone else come up with any questions? Oh, Lee was saying about invented target the target bullseye. So that was quite interesting. Yeah, and apparently Lee was saying about the Barbie movie being about the step towards a transgender world, introducing the Kenny doll. I don't think that was what happened. There wasn't I don't know about anything about the Kenny doll. I've not seen it. That's not been in the shops, but I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of nefarious things going on in the world. I just sometimes like buttercups and rainbows instead, and don't go down that road.
But sometimes it's nice to put yourself in a bubble and just I mean, I like, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so Kelly, I don't think you've got a word in Edgeways. What would you like to talk about?
I am good. Like, this has been fantastic, right? Just these are the kind of conversations I love having. Being a publisher of a holistic health and wellness magazine, I love this, and I get to experience your gifts and abilities with clearing. People just check out Edge magazine. Like, seriously,
well, I've got a question about Edge magazine. I have Patricia has sent a message. So hi, Antonio and Kelly. She's at 3 a.m. Because she's in Australia. So is advertising the magazine affordable to an artist like myself exploring diamond geometry?
Of course it is. And I try to spend the money like it's my own. So lots of different ways, whether it's in print or online, interviews. There's just a lot of ways that we can support everybody. And it's also that equal energy exchange is very important to me. And surrounding ourselves with authentic people with integrity, and people that we would want to use and we would want to partner with is very important to me. So absolutely jump on in.
Jump on in, and why don't give contact Kelly? Okay, so if people want to buy your magazine, they can go and buy it in stores in America. Is that how it works?
You can, or you can subscribe edgemagazine.net. It'll just go to latest issue and subscribe to the magazine. It's very affordable to have it sent to your home or business and join in.
Or you can just read it online as well.
So you can read it online, go to the latest issue. You can do the flip book, or shipping's probably going to be the most expensive part of it. And we just mail it out, and it's great. Like, this next edition's just hitting the streets today.
Oh, what's in the next edition?
Called We Are Not Alone. And there's just this, I know, it's just this brought in all these different mindsets for it. A little bit on some feng shui. Cannabis is now legal in the state. So we talk about the education of cannabis and plant medicine. Lots of beautiful topics in this one, which Jody talks about, the herb of the month of rose hips. Wes Hamilton does some numerology. We really try to create every issue so it's evergreen, and it doesn't matter where you are or when you receive it, that you just get this goodness.
And Kelly, what's your radio show about?
It is about being curious. So it's the Curious Show with Kelly and Brian. And we interview people from marketing and small businesses to authors to psychic mediums. We have 92 shows in the can. So we've been all over the board. I know we're clocking on 100, really excited about it. And just found out that we're in the top 10% of podcasts. So we're doing something right. And we're on AM radio. Who knew AM radio was really big still? It is. And we're growing. And it's just lots of really, really fun conversations. And then we create this safe space so people can just be authentically themselves. And what it is trying to create that curiosity between people of the conventional mindset and non-conventional, and just kind of bridging and allowing them to go, tell me more about that.
Fantastic. Okay, so people can we're going to have your socials down below as well. So where can people contact you, darling? We've got it written down, but go on.
Absolutely. So edgemagazine.net, and then my email address is kelly@edgemagazine.net. We're on all the socials. So magazine.edge on Instagram. We just re-engaged TikTok again, same thing, and on Facebook.
Cool. And I am divineempowerment.com, new website next week. I hope it should be there. Yeah. And my YouTube, everything Divine Empowerment, Antonia Harmon. You can just type in Antonia the Wizard. Oh, I want to tell you the difference between a witch and a wizard before we close. As a final point, there's a difference between the witches and wizards. Witches are what most people are doing on the planet, and they're doing 3D work, and they're using an intermediary to help you do the work. And there's no judgment on this. I love crystals. I love cards. I love all these different potions and spells, and having angels or guides or whatever helper that we need. But you're using an intermediary of some physical thing to help you, or some ceremony of some description to help you do the work. That's 3D magic, which is witchcraft. And it's like you can have male witches, you can have warlocks, but that's the 3D stuff. When you're doing the 5D stuff, or the higher level magic, lower level magic, and higher level magic, which is an ancient mystery school's term, when you're doing the high level magic, you are doing wizardry, because you don't need an intermediary to do the work for you. You are a sorcerer using source energy. Sorcerer is about using source energy. It's not this dark sorcerer stuff. It's about source. So it's awakening to your true nature, your God or God self. So it's not having to use anything outside of yourself to be able to do the work. It's you doing the doing, because you've awoken your true nature, your abilities. So that's what wizardry is. So that's why I'm a wizard, not a witch.
I am all about becoming a wizard. So the next time
I have a wizard school. You're going to be joining the wizard school anyway.
I am joining the wizard. I am going to join the wizard school. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So if anyone's interested in my book, Energy Secrets: How to Live to Your Full Potential, lots of information in it. A lot of it's quite easy to digest, and some of it's really advanced, like the last chapter and the manifesting is pretty advanced. The other stuff is much more accessible.
It's a really easy read. It's an enjoyable read. It's well crafted. I love the size. I love the feel. Now I'm into paper, so I mean, we went back to print. I just love it. And you can throw it in your bag. You can also read little bursts without breaking your flow. So you can read a chapter. It's very digestible and very, very easy.
It's also available on Audible. So it's if you want to get the hard copy, it's available in the UK or via import. The Kindle version is available globally, and also the Audible version, and it's me reading it. So you can listen to me reading it, which is kind of cute. So you've got that. That's one way of doing it. The other thing is, you can find me on my Instagram, everything Divine Empowerment. You'll find me there. Also, my courses, remember the code DIVINE10 if you want 10% off. That goes for healings. That goes for the first levels that you do. So if you want to buy the bundle, you can get 10% off, or your healing. So DIVINE10 for 10% off, and divineempowerment.com. I think that's it. Anything you want to close with?
Actually, Edge Magazine, so excited, you guys. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And what I say we do is we jump on when I'm halfway through your wizard school, and we'll give a little update to everybody, so I can be like, hello. Yeah, that's what we'll do.
You can talk about all the magic that you've just learned. Let's do that.
Absolutely. Yay. Well,
thank you
so much.
It's been
Jinx,
fun.
it has been fun.
All right. See you later, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. See you later. Bye.